And it's Ryan Gibson who takes the checkered flag, his 6th of the season, and he becomes the inaugural Earl Ross Cup champion in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series. You see the celebrations already begun in the grandstands, and coming through the Peraltada for the final time, your champion of the Formula One Series in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network is the Hurricanes E-Motorsports Honda of Corbin McCauley. Darcy Ford in the lead. Here coming through turn 4. Peaden trying to go inside. He may have him on the apron. Darcy Ford, he's going to get it. Darcy Ford is your champion. Darcy Ford clinches the Earl Ross Cup.
And into the final corner comes Daniel Cudmore. He wins Season 2 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network Formula One Series.
Darcy Ford, and he is the overall F1 All-Star Racing Series champion. He's got the Greg Moore Cup in his sights. And he's got his 7th win of the year. AJ Knickle claims the Grand Prix of Monterey, and with it, the inaugural Greg Moore Cup in the Rampage Coffee Company IndyCar Series.
Hey Jordy. All from is the 14 and the 19 that won't be here this evening.
Mic check on the 64.
You're good.
All right, folks, we are live here once again for round number 4 of Season 3 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series, and we hit the short track for Fix Auto Charlottetown 100 from the virtual Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa. And as mentioned, it's the opening round of our 3rd annual Fix Auto Cup, in which it's sort of a mini series of 6 races as we've done the previous 2 seasons. This year, again, it kicks off at Iowa tonight. Then we're off to Mid-Ohio in a couple of weeks' time for another Fix Auto Charlottetown 100. Then it's off to the good old Brickyard Indy Motor Speedway for the Fix Auto Charlottetown 200, which is in August. Then another one in August will be at Michigan, another Fix Auto Charlottetown 200 there. Then we lengthen out to a 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway in September. And wrapping up with yet another 250 at Phoenix Raceway, also in late September, and that'll be the final race of the round of 8, as we're going to go ahead and bring it live here now. And hello again to all of our viewers tuning in on YouTube. Jordy Caraher alongside Regan McCauley. Corbin's the one racing. Swear to God, I will get that. That's the first time I got that. Anyway, Regan.
How dare you?
Well, before we get too far, we should probably chat a little bit about how things went down last week at the Crack Device Company 100 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Oh yeah, very packed starts. The climactic stuff was more towards the beginnings of the stages. The finishes weren't really that packed at all. It was more towards maybe the back of the field. But yeah, Jon Peaden came through and showed some absolute dominance at most board. So that's a great way to get his first win of the season. And he gets himself a playoff spot as well. It's a great example.
Yeah, complete dominance, as you mentioned, taking all 7 playoff points over the course of the evening, the 2 stage wins, and of course the win by about 5 seconds. But again, given the dominance, like the one thing that we kind of asked him, or one of the things that we chatted with him about afterwards, the idea that, you know, the fields, there's a fair bit of parity here, and we had a little chat with him about that last week in the post-race.
Well, Season 2, we had Darcy and Scott Bailey seemed like they were going to win every single race, right?
Yep.
And so this year we start out and we've had 3 different winners, and I personally know a few guys from different leagues that I've run with that are really fast that haven't got a win yet. You know, like Gator Mike, Jacob, Jose. I wouldn't be surprised if they ever get one this year. So I would say that maybe the top guys aren't the same as last year, but throughout the whole field, it seems way faster, right? Or maybe I've just gotten faster from running with those guys. Maybe the top guys are the same, you know, I'm not sure.
And Jonathan Peaden certainly acquitting himself as a top guy once again. The pure sweep of last week's, you know, playoff points, and there you see, climbed right up into 2nd spot in the overall standings, just 2 points back of Leo Jamieson 3 races in. And certainly, you know, a very strong competitive field here. We got 10 drivers who've cracked the century mark already for points, and as you can see, if you go down to 16th, Jonathan Warr currently holds that spot, but Andy Hurdle and not Regan McCauley, Corbin McCauley they're well in contention for that final spot, and we still got 7 races to go. But again, we talked about it quite a bit last week. The guys in their first year in the series, again, not so much rookies as racers, of course, but as you can see by the points, they're acquitting themselves rather well in the opening few races of this season.
Well, yes, Leo Jamieson has come right into this series and put on a terrific impact to start off his Canadian Motorsport Network NASCAR Series career.
Yep, and I mean, you just kind of look through the rest of the standings. Like, you've got AJ Knickel there in the top 5 overall as well. Bob Drew the 3rd in 10th. Travis Tyson and Mike Nickens in playoff spots, and Keith Miller and Tom Janikowski very much in that conversation as well, as we will take a look at the team standings here now, and of course it was a second straight win for Tornado Alley E-Racing, and that just extended their lead over second place GTR Motorsports to 76 points in just a matter of 3 races.
Well, yes, Jonathan Peaden and Leo Jameson have both gotten some very valuable points through the first 3 races this season. Ty Higginbottom still doesn't have a win yet, but he's been getting some really good finishes. He's been very consistent. All 3 of them have been consistent together. So they're putting on quite the gap in comparison to teams like GTR Motorsports and Eclipse E-Racing Team. The thing is, Eclipse or E-Racing Team was the top team at Daytona, but like for the next 2 races, they kept dropping and dropping. They're still up there in the top 3. They could still figure things out, turn things around, but yeah, that was a very unexpected one.
Yeah, but again, it's still very early in the regular season, and
exactly.
A track like Iowa could produce some unpredictability as well, and we're going to get into that on the other side of this commercial break, which some people, as they've seen over the course of the last couple of Fix Auto Cup seasons, it's essentially a good reason for me to air some of these off Fix Auto commercials, and we're definitely doing that again. But on the other side, we're going to take a closer look at Iowa Speedway. We'll take a couple of laps around that 7/8 of a mile circuit, and then we will be on our way as coverage of tonight's Fix Auto Charlottetown 100 continues right here on the Canadian E-Motorsports Network.
Fix Auto, the first word that should come to mind after an accident.
Fix Auto, the first words that should come to mind after an accident.
All right, we're bringing it back here now. We're going to be firing on all cylinders here in a matter of moments. But first, as mentioned, we're going to take a quick look at what our drivers are going to be up against here at the virtual Iowa Speedway. Again, not a traditional Cup Series track, more kind of an Xfinity kind of thing for the most part anyway, and trucks as well. But again, lots of different options here. And Riggs, I know we were talking about this beforehand, just as soon as I find the scene here, but lots of different options to get around this particular track.
Oh yes, the characteristics that I found most important, most valuable of this track include multiple grooves, tire wear, and very close battles, considering this is the first short track of the season, and especially considering how much parity that we've gotten between the drivers plus the tracks as well. This is going to be the first big example of parity coming together and like those close battles coming through. So this is probably going to be the closest race we've seen so far this season. Obviously, there's plenty more races to go, but this will probably be one hell of a battle between every driver.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot of room to operate, and really not getting up to super high seat. Well, maybe for the short track perspective, it was into the kind of mid 150s there, topped out at speed-wise. But as we come through to complete another lap, again, we'll just come back to us here. It's going to be a very interesting chain of events here over the course of the evening, I would certainly suggest. And we're still a few minutes away from actually getting to that point. Given that we're just coming back from long weekends in both Canada and the United States, it seems only right that we once again pay homage to both countries with their respective national anthems, especially with the 4th of July just being yesterday. And then that'll be followed by the 4 most famous words in racing, and then we'll be taking the green flag, so we will catch you on the other side. Just as soon as I find the anthems. Here we go.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal.
Driver, start your engine!
All right, folks, we are just about to go live, and we go under the lights for the first time this season. It should be noted, it'll be our first night race. And leading them off the line here for tonight's Fix Auto Charlottetown 100, well, it's the guy who won this race last year, the defending Earl Ross Cup champion, the number 64 Atlantic Motorsports Ford of Darcy Ford.
Yes, he was the whenever I went to watch this broadcast, he was the most consistent driver throughout the whole race. There were other drivers that took turns taking the lead and stuff, but he was always up there at the front. He was the one that capitalized at the very end, so expect him to be the top contender today. And in the first couple of weeks, his luck wasn't so great, but he was able to rebound slowly with decent finishes at Auto Club and Motorsport. So considering that momentum coming through, plus the fact that he won this race last year, there's no doubt in my mind that he could be the winner tonight.
22.937 his pole time here tonight, and on the outside of row one will be the number 18 GTR Motorsports Toyota of Mike Nickens out of Jacksonville, Florida. And Nickens, he's a guy who's in the playoff picture. Maybe he's done it a little bit quietly so far, but he's very much still in the mix.
Yeah, the first couple of races, he hasn't really been. He hasn't really shown up, I guess, on our broadcast too much. I mean, go figure. It's the way it is with this game. But yeah, he hasn't really. We haven't really seen a whole lot of him. He has been quietly putting up some decent finishes, though, and at Motorsport in the first two stages, he collected some valuable stage points as well. So he was starting to get on our eyes, and now here he is qualifying in second place. So that's very compelling.
And he's got a GTR Motorsports teammate right behind him in the form of the number 41 Ford of Jose Mercado. Pole sitter last week, actually took the lead for all-time number of poles won last week, but starts third tonight.
Qualifying's been great for him, but the results are just not really there. There's been like at least all the races, or maybe two of them at least, you would have expected that he won. He would have won, but just the result never really came there from him. It's always early in the third stage where something bad luck happens to him, and then he somehow rebounds. It's never the win, though.
Jacob,
so hopefully tonight he rebounds and gets the job done tonight.
Group, if I'm not
and
mistaken.
alongside him on row two, the number 17 of,
Yeah,
not to be confused with Regan, that's Corbin McCauley in the Red Dirt
14,
Racing Chevy.
I know the
And we were
19
kinda
won't
talking
be
about this a
there,
little bit off
and
mic.
I think the 75.
Maybe not a surprise to
so
see him doing this on a short
weak crew
track.
tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure. Whenever I watched the broadcast, he was trying multiple groups. He was all over the place trying to figure things out. He had a very consistent race. Whenever I actually talked to him earlier today, and he was talking about his experience, his perspective through the race last year, and he said he thought he had the fastest car, and he was dominant at one point during some part of the race, but he just could not be there to beat Darcy Ford at the end. So, not surprised to see him qualify up high here. He should definitely contend for the win, and it would be a great continuation of resilient momentum after the absence at Auto Club earlier this season.
And rounding out the top five, just as we get live, it's the number 57 Ford of Bailey Burr out of Chesterfield, South Carolina, with the sponsorship from his Racing Carolina podcast, which will also be actually our race sponsor for next week as we hit Charlotte. But really, this is the first time we've gotten to talk about Bailey Burr to an extent. I'm not sure that he raced a Canadian Tire last week. I think he's just done the one at Auto Club to this point in the season. So,
well, yeah, new guy coming in, and he gets a good qualifying position here. Who knows? He might be, I guess, in a way, a late bloomer, kind of in a sense. I don't know if that's the right term, but you kind of know what I mean. You know what I mean.
And it looks like we are getting here just in time to
90.
Bring it to just about the green
To
flag
80?
anyway. They're coming through turn 3.
75,
Not sure if this is the first or
70.
second pace lap.
That's the term I'm looking for, like a surprising dark horse. That's
Yes.
what I was looking for.
No, I
was
knew
trying to
what you
figure
were
that out.
saying.
Yes. I was trying to figure that out.
And it looks like we're on to pace lap number 2 here. Again, it's going to be Darcy Ford leading them around. Nickens there in second. And we had Mercado there in third. So you see him on the inside. Corbin McCauley starting 4th. Bailey Burr rounds out the top 5. And then we'll give you a super quick top 10 because really that's all we're going to have time for. Chase Beatty starting in 6th. And row 4 will feature the 85 of Kevin Daigle and the 97 of Ty Higginbotham. And rounding out the top 10, series leader Leo Jameson in the 94, which is going to feature an Independence Day themed paint scheme tonight, so watch out for that. And
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys. I just had to try that for once.
Hey, go for it.
I had to try it for once.
A1, my friend, as we get along here. And looks like Ford's gotten a good start off the line. Nickens maybe running a little bit of that high line very early on.
The Larson line.
And it should be noted here, stage lengths tonight are 34 laps in this opening stage, 32 in the middle stage. And that's going to bring us to a 68-lap final stage. That's all under green flag conditions. Fuel, we're forecasting around 40 laps. So realistically, we're probably looking at stops at the end of each of the first 2 stages with just the 1 green flag stop in stage 3. As we focus in on Mike Nickens here, looks like he's gotten good use of that line. It looks like the majority of the field's running that high line. 30 to go, we're being told. And as Nickens tries to catch up to Ford, he's got Mercado coming up right behind him, so let's go to him. And we'll actually take it back from Jose Mercado's angle just to see what kind of a gap they're looking at. Not a whole lot, well, no movement in the top 3 here in the opening 4 or 5 laps. Bearing in mind, of course, that the 2 pace laps that you saw, they did count as competition laps. So effectively 32 racing laps in this opening stage. Just kind of a little quirk of this particular game for those who might not be aware of it as we check in on Corbin McCauley. Started 4th, still 4th. As he takes a run down the inside, trying to get onto the back of Mercado through turns 1 and 2.
He's trying to bump him up the track there. Oh, and a big run there by Ty Higginbotham on the outside there, trying to use the high line just like Nickens as well. Nickens is trying to catch up to Darcy Ford in some form, but so far it just hasn't been able to work. But he's staying consistent up there. He's been able to keep his position over Mercado, and yeah, it's like close but not close enough sort of
Indeed
situation.
So. And it looks like Higginbotham's a big winner here so far. Started 8th and has worked his way up to 5th early on. And the guy who started 5th, we're going to check in on him now. That's the 57 of Bailey Burr. And it looks like he's still hanging around there. That's P6 for the number 57 out of Chesterfield, South Carolina. And it looks like he's hanging on to that kind of lead inside line. And then just coming up the inside, up to that high line that you were referring to earlier. As you say, lots of different ways to run this particular corn maze here tonight.
Well, that's the thing. It's the mixture of multiple grooves and also tire wear as well, because if you take the inside line, like let's say in a consistent number of laps in a row, like in a sequence like that, if you keep going way too fast down the inside line, that is going to wear your tires the heck out. So if you try to use the high line, you may need to let off instead. So that's what really makes this track very, very compelling.
And again, a little bit of a different configuration for the Cup cars that our drivers are competing in tonight as we get a look at our Daytona winner, Chase Beatty. He started 6th tonight. It looks like he's running in 8th place at the moment, just tucked in behind Leo Jameson in that number 94 red, white, and blue. Again, we talked about some of the 4th of July themed cars that we're expecting. That's certainly one of them. As we head back in through turn 1, AJ Knickel looked like he's getting some good use out of that high line, running in 9th, just behind that main battle. And Knickel had qualified outside the top 10, so it looks like the 47's gotten off to a good start as well, running almost exclusively the high line, it would appear. As we will check in now on the number 85 of Kevin Daigle, running for the Sim League Pro Racing team here. It looks like he's clocking in around 10th place, started in 7th. Getting a little bit of a bump there, or a not bump draft, I guess, but certainly a little bit of a push from the 87 of Travis Tyson. And Tyson, another one of those guys sporting a 4th of July themed paint scheme here tonight in the 87 out of Kingsport, Tennessee. As now we'll continue along. We'll get back up toward the head of the field where we'll find Ty Higginbotham looking like he's getting that inside line. I thought he was going in for 4th place potentially on Nickens, who looks like he has fallen back a little bit. McCauley up to 2nd. Mercado still there in 3rd. 20 laps to go in this opening stage. But yeah, it looks like, again, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Higginbotham looking like kind of an early winner here in the opening part of this first stage. As we'll continue along here to our series leader, the number 94 of Leo Jameson out of Atlanta, Georgia. Winner a couple of weeks ago at Auto Club. Another track that you kind of alluded to, Regan, with multiple options, multiple ways to run it. So don't be surprised maybe if you see the 94 up there and in competition toward the very end here as well.
Well, yeah, you could say they are similar. You could say they are similar tracks in the sense of like the multi groups and tire wear, but obviously this track is way shorter. There's different track elevation, and we'll quickly change that right here. We got a lead battle going on. It's the other McCauley, the one racing, versus Darcy Ford for the lead here as Corbin goes down the inside, tries to clear Darcy, but nope, Darcy Ford's got the. Or maybe he has cleared. He has cleared him perfectly. Right on the inside. Darcy Ford falls back on the outside. Corbin has found some speed here, trying to. He looks like he stayed patient here for a couple laps. Maybe Darcy Ford used up his tires maybe a little bit too much. That could be a possibility. That's just speculation, but you never know. That could be one of the reasons here. It kind of looks obvious too in a sense if you think about it.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe content to conserve a little bit in the second half
that
of
as
this
well.
opening stage.
Yes.
Obviously, we're not looking at fuel conservation. Again, we're looking at more tire wear from that perspective. And again, we talk about the 17 moving up into the lead. Perhaps not a huge shock to see him at the top of the board. Did win Martinsville rather convincingly back in season 1. So that's, rather significant in terms of being a junkyard by times. So Martinsville, McCauley conquered that. Not a huge surprise to see him fighting toward the head of the field, though I thought Darcy Ford might have had a look there coming out of the turn.
Yeah, he and Darcy Ford were the two dominant drivers, at least in my opinion, whenever I watched the broadcast from last year. So not surprised to see him up here at the front. But Mercado, and I believe that was Higginbottom that was there. Yes, those two, they're sticking up with them. They've caught up as well. Yeah, it looked like, because early on, Darcy Ford it looked like he was just far and gone, but no, there's been speed that's been found. Like, it could just be a speed difference. Maybe that's why Darcy's suddenly falling back here. It's just it's early on. Drivers are still trying to figure out their own grooves and stuff, their own strategies, just finding where they find themselves perfect and comfortable.
All right, getting over 15 to go. That's Mike Nickens up into the wall. He was running in 5th. And let's just see if we can get kind of a reverse perspective of who may have benefited from that. It looks like Nickens may have held on to the position based on that red hood. So we'll go back to our main camera here, and we'll go back to where we were in the line. So that brings us to the number 36 of Brandon Reed out of Fort Worth, Texas. And he's a guy who's currently outside the playoff picture, but a good result here, that could put him right back into the conversation. As it looks like he got a little bit loose there out of the turn.
Yeah. It's a little congested in the back of the pack.
Well, I don't even know if that's the back of the pack. I think
or
that
just
might be
middle.
Yeah.
I call it back because we're kind of far away from the leaders. That's just my personal take there.
No, that's a fair point. And I'd say that's probably about middle of the pack there based on Knickel and Kime going through. Looks like Kevin Daigle's kind of running that high line a little bit. Meanwhile, Reed looking like, or I thought he was going to go door-to-door with Tyson there down the back straight.
Bob Drew III coming down on the inside, trying to make a bit of a diving move. He won't be able to get him.
Push from Daigle there as we're getting the word 10 to go. And Reed and Tyson continue to battle. And as that happens, we'll try and push a little bit further through the field where we find the 47 of AJ Knickel, a guy who's been remarkably consistent so far, top 3 in all 3 races so far. Just hasn't gotten to the top step on the NASCAR side just yet. Would not be a surprise to see him there before long.
Well, yeah, Leo Jamieson has been the... No, listen. Let me talk. Leo
Okay.
Yes, I mean Knickel second there, but yeah, Leo Jamieson in the 94 has been the most dominant, the top rookie this season. Like, in the rookie standings, he's, like, far ahead. But then there's AJ Knickel. Like, don't count him out because he's been consistent. Jamison's kind of the winning dominant, but then there's Knickel who's trying to do his results based off of consistency and trying to keep his car clean and stuff. I mean, at most sport, though, that was kind of a different story at one point. He was getting bashed around. I believe it was because he didn't pit. I think that was the reason.
Yeah, from stages 1 to 2.
Yeah, that didn't really help him with his tire wear, so he fell back. But yeah, like he's behind Jamieson. It's AJ Knickel, who's the other, I guess not necessarily dominant rookie, but he's been very solid so far this season. And yeah, you had to let me talk there. You had to let me talk there. I knew what I was doing that time.
Okay, there you go. And you talk about guys who know what they're doing. Jonathan Peaden, I don't think, felt too confident in what he was doing tonight at Iowa, but it looks like he's running fairly competitively here. He's got Chase Beatty there. Looks like he's getting down on the inside, potentially on the back straight. And that would be just outside the top 10, so maybe not an immediate contention, but again, I don't think you can count the 53 out anywhere, as we're going to try and backpedal to our lead battle here, which to our knowledge is still very much Corbin McCauley leading the pack. Coming to 4 laps remaining in the stage, so I think we may have timed this pretty well.
Yeah, Corbin seems to be pulling away, and he looks like he's comfortable to get the green checker flag for the first stage here. The second to fourth, though, are still going at it. You see Darcy Ford starting to fall back to possibly 4th place here. Bit surprising, but again, though, like you said earlier, he might be being conservative. Maybe it is a speed. Maybe it's just a speed difference between the drivers. Maybe it's tire wear. It could be anything.
It absolutely could, but for Corbin McCauley in about 3 laps' time, it could be a stage win as he comes through turns 1 and 2. It looks like he's coming up on the back of Trent Nielsen here on the back straight in the 55 out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. But again, I'm not sure if he'll be able to close that gap quite enough in that time, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's just kind of keep it clean over the next 2 laps plus. 2 laps now.
Higginbottom seems to be getting a good pace off the outside line. He did use the inside there, but I did notice he was trying the high line, especially in turns 3 and 4, and it does seem like he is catching up just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough to catch the Corbin for the first stage victory.
And there's Nielsen dipping out of the way, as well as McCauley's going to see the white flag for this opening stage right about now, or whenever our corn cob. Yeah.
It is the last lap.
We missed the good old corn cob start-finish line, which I absolutely love, by the way, as McCauley makes his way down the back straight for the last time into turns 3 and 4. And I think just keeping it clean, staying patient. Looks like Corbin McCauley, that is job done. That is stage number 1, headed the way of the number 17 Red Dirt Racing Chevy. As we just go ahead and get the right overlay up. So McCauley takes the stage, Higginbotham second. I think Mercado does come out third. Darcy Ford finishes 4th. So really, Reegs, that top 4 kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack.
Oh yes, those are the top. Those look to be the 4 drivers to keep an eye on for the win here. But again, though, there's still a whole lot of other cars that could easily benefit off of strategy, because some drivers could be being conservative with their tire wear, their strategies, with the grooves and stuff. And I'll also say, obviously, the sibling thing, it's just stage 1. If you want a reaction out of me, just wait until the actual checker flag.
You're reserving judgment. I like it.
I'm waiting on it. Yeah, obviously the points are valuable. They are definitely, but you know the victory would probably be the one thing to get a reaction out of me.
Yeah, it's not whose line is it anyway, but we'll go ahead and reserve judgment for about 30 seconds, just as well. No, the stage is starting on us pretty quick. We'll
just
go
give
into
us a few laps
commercial,
here.
Yeah, on in a little bit here as stage number 2 is officially underway. Things happening quickly here.
Ford in the middle of 3-1. No, he's going to get up high by the looks of it.
Yeah, not 100% sure. It looks like McCauley retains the lead. It looks like the majority of the field did pit at the end of the stage, which again, not 100% surprising given the 40-lap fuel load that we were kind of tipped off to.
There's a couple of cars getting a little bit scrambly, a little wiggly towards the back, but it doesn't look like anyone is going around. Everyone's keeping it straight.
Indeed so, as we'll try and bring it up to our race leader, Corbin McCauley, straight away. So it's McCauley in the lead, Mercado in second by the looks of things. Indeed so. Higginbotham third.
Oh, in the back there, getting very, very congested.
Yeah, just getting a little bit frisky here in Iowa through turns 1 and 2. Again, just 32 laps in this middle stage here. So they'll tick off pretty quickly as we take a look at Bailey Burr here now, running side by side with Darcy Ford for 1, which puts him in 5th place. So based on the couple of races that I saw him do last season, this is the best I've seen Burr over the course of his time in the series. Looks like he may have just dipped down to 6th, but still, great start so far for the number 57. As we'll move along now to the number 25 of Chase Beatty. He looks like he's part of that Chase pack, so to speak. Not even a whole lot of separation between that lead pack and the secondary pack, but
yeah, the top
chaos.
4. Yeah, the top 4 cars do seem to be getting kind of a distance, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. We still got a lot of laps left in this stage. It's a pretty big pack from 5th onward.
Indeed it is, as we'll give you a quick top 10 here from our opening stage. So as you
way
saw,
too early, Jinx, like you say.
we'll get to that as soon as I get the math added up, but we can give
Soon.
you the official results from the stage. So again, Corbin McCauley takes the win in the stage, as you saw. Ty Higginbotham finishes 2nd, Jose Mercado in 3rd, Darcy Ford in 4th, Leo Jamieson rounds out the top 5, so good run there from the series leader. Mike Nickens is 6th, so he grabs 5 points from that. Bailey Burr came in 7th. And for the guy with not much confidence, or not as much confidence anyway, going into this particular track, Jon Peaden picks up another 3 points in 8th. 9th, AJ Knickel, we were talking about him a little bit earlier. Chase Beatty rounds out the top 10, so he grabs an additional point. As we take a look at this lead battle here, Higginbotham running in 3rd. And again, it looks like that same, well, a little bit of a difference. They're not the same 4, as it looks like Darcy Ford's dropped out of it. Leo Jamieson taking his place in that kind of lead pack right now. But again, they're all chasing the 17 of Corbin McCauley as it stands. As we'll go on to, well, we're going to stay with that battle actually, with Leo Jamieson running in 4th, with AJ Knickel looking like he's rounding out the top 5 on that high outside line. And again, the 94, we mentioned it a couple of times already, but very much in the one day after 4th of July spirit.
It's getting close. Here comes Mercado. Higginbotham trying to, he looked like to try and make the outside line worked in turns 1 and 2, and he had a pretty good run coming down the backstretch. Almost 3 wide. Mercado to the inside. Here's the battle for first place.
Yeah, Higginbotham trying to give Corbin McCauley a push, but Mercado on that inside line.
Jamieson also there. AJ Knickel is even coming there as well. Higginbotham looks like he may have deflected off the outside wall there. He falls back all the way to 5th.
Just a little bit of a touch off of that wall out of turn 2, it looks like, for the 97, but
might have been trying too hard.
Yeah, it looks like he got the speed right back, though. He's basically right on that back bumper of AJ Knickel as he goes for that inside line through turns 1 and 2.
Jamieson coming for 2nd place on the inside of Jose Mercado. And maybe 3 wide in the back there?
Yeah, it looks like Peaden, Ford, and I think that was No, I was going to say Beatty in the middle, but I think it was Mike Nickens instead. As they come through to complete another lap, we're looking at
They're still
about
through it.
somewhere in the ballpark of about 20 laps remaining in the stage. Haven't heard anything from our Discord race control as of yet.
Jamison clears himself in second place right on the bumper of Corbin McCauley. To the inside, here he comes. McCauley is going to benefit with the Highline run.
And we were just told a moment ago, 19 to go. I think it's 18 as they cross the start-finish line. And again, it's Corbin McCauley maintaining the lead. And yeah, getting a little
3 wide for second.
Getting a little spicy here in Iowa. And
Jamison backs off.
For now, anyway, I don't expect the 94 to wait too long here, as it looks like they've kind of gotten single file, which is, a little bit rare.
We got 3 cars right in the high line.
I got to tell you, Riggs, this is some of this battling in terms of comparisons. It's right up there with sliced bread in terms of how good it is, and I just learned before the broadcast, Iowa is apparently where sliced bread became a thing. So that's
ironic.
I mean, it may have been a push just to get that particular line or fact in there, but
it
was a good one nonetheless.
If we don't get this in the third and final stage, I'm going to be quite surprised and maybe a bit disappointed too.
And not to butter up any of our fans anymore, but we'll continue along here as we check in with Brandon Reed in the 36. Started in 10th tonight, but it looks like he may have dropped down the field here just a little bit. 16 to go, we're being told. So that's effectively the halfway point of this middle stage. And again, we're just looking at pit stops in all likelihood at the end of the stage. So kind of a straight run there. Reed with a little bit of a drift there. But he's able to hold on to effectively a middle groove there through turns 3 and 4 as he comes through to complete another lap. And we will continue on. Oh, we may have a battle on our hands here. AJ Knickel up into second, trying to get a run on Corbin McCauley for the lead, but don't look now. Down low there, I'm not sure if that was Nicken. No, that was Jamison, excuse me, in the, again, 4th of July paint scheme.
I find it unbelievable how they can just run the outside. Like in turns, especially in turns 3 and 4, they can ride the high line like right along the outside wall like crazy. Kind of reminds me of Homestead Miami in a sense, but maybe a little bit more of a crazy factor.
Yeah, a little bit. Sounds like we may have had something go on toward the back of the field. I think Jason Butler might have been involved based on what I was hearing.
And
meanwhile,
Knickel in the wall by the looks of it?
Yeah, it looked like maybe just a little bit too high of a run, and suddenly that pack turns into about 6 or 7. And it's 6 with Jonathan Peaden joining the proceedings. Reggie Kime not too far behind there in 7th.
And Higginbottom to second place.
Indeed so. He was running there a little bit earlier. Might have an inside line on McCauley potentially as we check in on Jon Peaden now at the back of this lead pack.
This is just for the stage finish, man.
This is going to be some awfully good racing, I would have to say. Again, Peaden starting in, I believe, 12th tonight, but up into 6th right now. As we're closing in on 10 laps remaining, and we're doing it rather quickly here, given, the short nature of the short track lap.
And how many laps is the third stage? Remind me again.
68.
It's 68 laps?
Yeah,
wow.
So there will be one green flag pit stop.
Okay, that should definitely spice things up.
I mean, that'll be the expectation, right? Coming up on 10 to go. There's the confirmation. It actually is 10 to go.
3 wide for, I believe that was 4th place there, and then they immediately just scramble right into single spots.
It's something to behold, man. We
got 7 cars now.
We do. Might still
almost.
Be 6 there.
It might
Jameson's
almost.
Still there.
There appears to be a 7th car that is starting to slowly catch up here. That looks to be Nicken.
No, that's Reggie Kime, the 77.
Oh, Reggie Kime.
There's a lot of red, white, and blue cars, so it's a little bit difficult to figure out by times. And we've got another one here, unless you want to call the red orange in this particular case for the 53. I'm sure he could go for that as a Gator guy. That being Jonathan Peaden, who's now suddenly found himself in 4th. As we'll do a quick check-in on Tom Janikowski, but I think we'll go, and there's another, I would say, Independence Day or 4th of July themed scheme. And we'll try and go through a couple more before we go backwards toward our lead battle in the closing stages of the stage, for lack of a better term. 7 to go, we're being told, as we check in on the number 6 of Bob Drew III out of Miamisburg, Ohio. And he looked like he was trying to get a run there on Nickens, who was door-to-door with Jonathan War. And now Bob Drew III looking like he's got a pretty good line. On the inside, Reed, I think it might be ducking into pit lane. So, looks like he may have gotten a little bit of damage, as does the number 6 Ford. But again, Reed dropping out early, as we'll go backwards now to our lead battle. So, yeah, we're here. Corbin McCauley looks like he's still in control, but Ty Higginbotham might have something to say about that, especially with the lap traffic they're coming up on. Nielsen gets out of the way, 5 to go. Corbin McCauley maintaining the lead, getting a push on the outside from AJ Knickel.
Oh, we got double pack. We got a pack here for the top 4 cars here.
Yeah, that's 2 Tornado Alley guys on the bottom, it has to be noted, in the form of Higginbotham and Peaden. But
they're still double file.
And that's 4 laps to go now.
Ooh. Dear God. This isn't a super speedway.
No, but it's super entertaining, as it looks like Higginbotham might have the nose out in front of McCauley, or I thought he did anyway. He'll have the inside line into 3, though. And it looks like we're going to have ourselves potentially a lead change here, although McCauley's still maintaining the high line. 3 to go. Knickel might try something on the inside, trying to get on the back of Higginbotham.
Corbin's still trying to get the run on the outside. Higginbotham's going to clear. No, to the inside. He's going to dive. He's going to make the lane change.
The old switcheroo, as I
Crossover.
believe it's Super GT calls it in the Gran Turismo side of things. But it looks like Higginbotham may have countered right back.
Yeah, he got the run. Corbin dove it way down into the inside line, so.
2 remaining here in this second stage. Ty Higginbotham, your race leader. And McCauley running second, Knickel third, and I think that's that's Peaden there in 4th. As it'll be Ty Higginbotham seeing the white flag. Let's see if we can get to him real quick here. There we go. We're watching it from the 97's perspective now. Good run off the inside out of 2. Opened up a little bit of space going into that back straightaway. Is that going to be enough?
Corbin tried the inside, but Higginbotham stuck it to the inside as well. He knew a dive was possible, and Ty Higginbotham is going to score the second stage victory, as it looks like Corbin's going through the grass for whatever reason.
I have a funny feeling he may be hearing about that a little bit later, maybe off broadcast. But certainly Ty Higginbotham, he's done his damage here in stage 2, picking up the stage win. And given, I'm not sure if it was a little bit too wild of a run out of 4 for Corbin McCauley, not sure if he held on to second at the end of the stage. We do know that Jon Peaden and AJ Knickel were right there in that top 4. And we'll give you the official top 4. McCauley falls to 3rd, Knickel up to 2nd in the stage. And so now we're going to go ahead and take that commercial break we mentioned. So we'll take a little breath, and we'll be back for stage 3 in about 30 seconds time. All right, folks, we bring it on back for the 3rd and final stage here of tonight's Fix Auto Charlottetown 100. Some immediate contact there. And it looked like a few cars kind of got jammed up in that.
Yeah, there was a squeeze for 3 wide. I think it was in 3rd or 4th round there. As there's one car around into the inside wall in the backstretch there. It looked like it was a black car by the looks of it.
And 3rd stage here in Iowa, the land of the corn. I think the water may have just gotten a little bit hotter for some of these drivers as we continue our way through the field. Back to the 18 of Mike Nickens here. He started in second, but it looks like he's fallen down a little bit here. I'd say he's running about 13th by the looks of things.
Yeah, there goes a car to pit road right there.
And
I think that might be the 21. That might be the 21, Matthew Patek.
I think that is a correct observation there. The 21 of Matt Patak. Haven't really talked a whole lot about him over the course of the evening. Couldn't go at Canadian Tire last week, and certainly not the way he would have hoped the third stage would start, as we'll go up to Jose Mercado in the 41. He's running in third. Looks like it's a battle here between Knickel and Higginbotham. Knickel almost out of the screen with the high line that he was running. And yeah, it's Knickel and Higginbotham battling for the lead. Mercado third, Macaulay fourth. And again, it's a pack of four kind of separating themselves, although Darcy Ford's looking to do something about that. Jonathan War also looking to do something about that on that low line. Just saw him kind of duck there off the start finish. And there's Patak looking to rejoin. And indeed it was the 21, so good eye on that, Regan. As we will push forward here. Well, we'll stay with this battle just from a different perspective, that being the 17 of Corbin Macaulay, now in third, but potentially in a battle here with Mercado. Darcy Ford, again, looking to get into that mix. Tonight's pole sitter rounding out the top five at the moment. But right now, it looks like it's just, well, I was going to say a two-horse race, but then again, you see 3 through 5 really kind of swallowing up that gap through the turns. And again, it might be just the nature of the track, but things have been absolutely electric here, really through the first two stages. And as you say, you'd almost not want it any other way, certainly, for the overall finish.
Well, the thing is, too, at this third stage, like it's just under 70 laps. We're gonna have a green flag pit. We're gonna have green flag pit stops at some point. The biggest question with that, though, is because the only cautions that we get are for the stage breaks, like the stage endings. Is that gonna break everyone up? Is that gonna cause the packed racing to just lower down, or is everyone gonna be able to catch back up and be able to get a good battle like we saw at the end of the second stage? Or basically through the entire second stage. I think that's a better way to put it, because we basically had great racing through the whole damn thing.
Absolutely we have, and a guy who's been a part of that here a little bit, at times anyway, this evening has been the 57 of Bailey Burr, who we see right now, I think running at about 7th or 8th by the looks of things. And just trying to get a picture on him here, Ford and Mercado there. So yeah, that's 8th place for Bailey Burr, as we get word of Darcy Ford tagging the wall there. That's why he's fallen off the pace a little bit. And indeed, you see he has dropped down to 6th. And so we'll continue along now to the 25 of Chase Beatty, looking to tuck in behind Nickens. But Jonathan War had other ideas, getting a little push from Mike Marini off the back as well. But again, Beatty in that number 25 Eclipse, he could be on for relatively decent finish here. Of course, he's already got his playoff spot locked up, but positioning is never a bad thing.
Well, yeah, just because you have a win, just because you have a guaranteed playoff spot doesn't mean you don't have to go for it anymore. You can still go for it, get some valuable points, and it looks like a car right there. So that looks like it's Leo Jameson falling back there after some contact with a car, a couple spots up.
Yeah, I think they got 3 wide through turns 1 and 2, and I think they might be going for it again. Come on, make it 4 wide for July 4th. We're begging here. As we'll continue along now to Kevin Daigle. He started in 7th, and we're getting word of some battling for some of our top positions. So this is a battle for 5th or 4th.
I
think it was for 5th place. Or no, it was 4th and 5th. We just had to interpret that. Again, we're not great with math here in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network studios.
So yeah, that looks to be Knickel and McCauley fighting for first place then, I believe.
Yeah, Ty Higginbotham's very much in that trio as well.
Yes.
Yeah, there you see them, 97, 17, and 47. Might be a lucky 7 night here by the looks of things. But 64 in 4th, you know, he'd love to have something to say about that. Not quite Forrest Gump style, but certainly he'd love to say it maybe a little bit stronger. As Mercado, I wonder if these two might potentially work together to try and push up to that lead trio. Certainly a possibility. And I mean, when you've only got 7/8 of a mile to work with, you kind of go with who you're with.
Exactly. Thing is, though, I would say my biggest question with that, though, is it truly necessary just yet? Because we still got that pit window coming up. Although at the same time, if you do think about it, the more that you're closer with those lead cars in that pack together, if you choose to pit with one of those certain drivers, you could come out and be at the top right with them and be able to battle with them to the checkered flag.
You absolutely could, as we'll try and bring it back to... This is our lead battle here now. So it's AJ Knickel in the lead in the 47. Corbin McCauley, who we're riding with now, is second. Ty Higginbotham there in third. Ford and Mercado trying to make it a 5-horse race here. But again, it's looking like, for the moment anyway, Knickel has the lead, but McCauley dives in on the inside.
Could that be two rookie wins in 4 races, possibly?
Oh, contact there between Knickel and McCauley.
Just as I say that, Corbin McCauley going for it.
Indeed so. And he may have actually come out with the better run here.
Don't deny the outside line. That lane is fast off the corners.
Just a matter of who Ty Higginbotham gives the push to here, I think. In a way.
Oh, Knickel might have tagged the wall. Higginbotham's going to clear for second place.
48 laps to go, so we're a little less than 10 laps away from the opening of that kind of pit window for that one green flag stop. So, again, without the benefit of really knowing how much time's going to be lost in pit lane, be interesting to see if the strategy is to kind of split it down the middle, go short, or stay long.
Well, yeah, well, the thing is, will one of these cars end up coming out and prevailing as the top car? Will it be multiple of them? Could it be someone that we haven't seen all race just come out of nowhere and suddenly be able to come home and take the checker flag? Like, anything's possible here with the racing we saw in the second stage, plus this decent racing that we are also getting here in this third and final stage.
Indeed
Anything's
so.
possible. Like the heart rate levels are through the roof.
And if we're there now, think about where we're going to be at about half an hour's time, if that.
Exactly.
As again,
some
we
battling.
check in. Well, you want to say some battling? I think they may have been 4 wide on the back straight behind Bailey Burr here. So they are 3 wide at minimum. But I think Marini may have tucked in behind another driver there just to make it a little more civilized coming through turns 3 and 4. And Chase Beatty is very much part of that battle.
Yeah, Bob, make it 4 wide. We need the July 4th thing, man.
Well,
you were saying that earlier.
Just about
they
just about did.
They separated.
Certainly very much congested there, those 4. But makes for really entertaining racing, I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
I'm not sure if Kevin Daigle might have had a disconnection there. I'm not seeing the 85.
Thought I heard something.
That might be...
Am I hearing a car around, or is that a disconnection? Or
Well, I didn't see the 85 come through that shot, so that to me would suggest that it was probably...
Might have disconnected car, might have just went straight into the wall just because game.
May well have as well.
That would be super unfortunate.
Meanwhile, speaking of game, Ty Higginbotham looking like a gamer here tonight as Corbin McCauley has taken the lead. Higginbotham right behind him, though, in second. We heard a little bit earlier AJ Knickel tagging the wall through the start-finish straight, and we saw it happen, actually. But he's recovered his speed, and he's third. Darcy Ford right behind him in fourth.
He's still remaining up there. A little wall tapped it. He didn't let that do anything to his car. It doesn't look like it did anything physically, so he's still up there. He's still being consistent, like you said. He's been. That's what his races, his results have been like this season.
As it looks like Higginbotham's trying for the move, trying to regain the lead into turn 1. And for the moment, it looks like he's got it. But again, we've talked about it how many times now. Don't discount those other lines in terms of speed.
And it looks like the inside prevailed this time. surprising.
Indeed it did. Maybe the track changing a little bit, maybe coming to those tires on the inside.
Well, that's
line.
the thing. It could be tire wear. It could be the fact that, I mean, I don't know if this actually applies to the game in a sense, but like it's nighttime, so grip is going to be obviously more noticeable. There's going to be a lot more grip in comparison to the daytime, where whenever there's a race with the sun completely out, there's a complete loss of grip. It's like loose as anything out there.
And we certainly expect things to tighten up over the course of the evening, as it looks like our leaders are coming up on lap traffic here. I think that's Travis Tyson ahead, Keith Miller perhaps there as well in the 44. And again, with the benefit of a slightly longer stage, we'll try and get around to more of the drivers here. I know we've only gotten to about half the field to this point, I would say, as we check in on Leo Jameson, who was battling toward the head of the field earlier, but looks like he may have just fallen off the pace just a touch. Looks like Burr's right ahead. So that would put him just kind of on the fringes of the top 10 if memory serves. As we'll continue on, there's Brandon Reed, who had started in 10th, but again, it doesn't look like the race has gone in favor of the number 36 over the course of the evening, as it looks like he's getting a little push from Janikowski, maybe even getting a bit, I was going to say loose on that high line, but thought Janikowski might have benefited, but right now Reed keeps the position. As we'll continue, this will actually bring us back to our lead battle here, or at least close to it. AJ Knickel looks like he's tucked in behind Darcy Ford now, so that puts him in third. 36 to go, we're being told, so we're well within the pit window now. So, decisions, Regan.
Oh yes, some like how different each strategy is going to be. Like that is going to determine what happens as we get to the checker flag. As we got one of the leaders coming in here.
That is AJ Knickel. He's going to be first to come in. So we're going to see just how well the undercut works out as we go on track with Jonathan Peaden.
All I'm going to say is don't get that penalty, because especially at this track, a penalty, no matter if you are speeding through an entrance or speeding off the exit, like that could seriously hurt you, especially considering we are on such a short track here. Short tracks, getting a pit road penalty on a short track is not good, especially considering there are going to be no more cautions for the remainder of the race.
Yeah, really, a speeding penalty in the pit lane, that's almost effectively another lap down. With
exactly. Like it could be 2 laps down, even 3, it depends.
Either way, not ideal if that was to be the case, as we check in on, again, Tom Janikowski out of Appleton, Wisconsin. He had been battling with Brandon Reed a little bit earlier, but not sure if Reed pitted right away or what happened. But either way, we know the 93 is kind of flying his own flag, so to speak, as he comes through to begin another lap. And as he does that, we see a cavalcade of cars coming out, led by Bob Drew III, just coming out of pit lane. So it looks like a lot of cars just kind of splitting the stage in half.
Exactly, yes.
That's because it was 34 to go when AJ Knickel came in, as we check in on.
Damage on the hood for Travis Tyson, and there comes the 44 of Keith Miller in right behind him, another rookie.
Yeah, it looks like we're coming into that pit window. Darcy Ford in pit lane there just ahead of them. So again, we're going to get a sense of just how well, again, some of those earlier pit stops are going to work out. It's only a lap or 2 in the difference, but if you can get a whale of an outlap, there's positions to be had. As we watch Reggie Kime here now. Again, sort of, well, looks like Kime's headed into pit lane now as well, so we're very much, again, within that one green flag pit window. We just saw Dan Cudmore come out of pit lane. And again, Cudmore, the lone driver running an actual licensed NASCAR paint scheme, excuse me. As sounds like McCauley's headed into pit lane. Do we have contact there going into pit lane? That's Jameson and Burr together. Not sure if that's a game glitch or just driving. As we go to Trent Nielsen now. And we're going to have to take probably a couple of laps to sort out a new running order. Ty Higginbotham stayed out a little bit longer as we check in on Jonathan War now. So Higginbotham heading into pit lane now. We just got that confirmation from the man himself. And Marcus Wright, I'm gonna suspect that's a disconnection for the Niles, Michigan native. No movement there in pit lane. And so we'll check in on the stricken number 21 Ford of Matthew Paytak out of Vandalia, Ohio. And again, we saw him kind of get caught up in that early stage 3 incident. He's been in pit lane twice in this stage. So again, certainly not going the way of the 21. As Ford, it looked like I'm not sure if that was a glitch or what it was there, but we saw the 64 briefly go sideways in behind, and who was that coming out? Was that damage to the front of Corbin McCauley? 17 out of the pits, I think that is him. So we're getting close to the head of the fields. Here we just saw Jason Butler, and now we're with Mike Marini in the number 12 Toyota. And Marini unable to pull off the hat trick last week at Canadian Tire, but still a respectable 7th place finish there. And still, again, a guy very much in the playoff picture is the number 12. Obviously, nearly 4 races in, still kind of early, but looking like he's got a good battle going on here with Bob Drew III. As we'll continue along. And so getting word from Corbin McCauley. Looks like it has damage, but he doesn't. Okay, so we just got word from Race Control, our top 5 out of that pit window. AJ Knickel is your race leader, Ty Higginbotham 2nd, Darcy Ford in 3rd. And yeah, so we talked about it off the hop. I think that undercut may have served AJ Knickel very well. Looks like he got an absolute burner off out of pit lane.
Well, yes, he chose to come in early, just get it done and over with, and then pass literally everyone else that decided to come in later on. So that, again, there's still plenty of time, but like it could either be a case of someone is able to catch up to him, or maybe he just pulled off the win already. Well, no, never mind. They're pretty close.
So
yeah, I was saying there, like, they could still catch up. They still could catch up there. So,
and it's 23 laps to go, we're being told. And yeah, it's AJ Knickel who's still your leader. There he is in the blue. Ty Higginbotham 2nd, Darcy Ford, who we're riding with now, tonight's pole sitters 3rd, Corbin McCauley in 4th. Jose Mercado rounds out the top 5 as it stands right now. So if that pack gets together, that's the pack that's been kind of consistently there for the majority of the evening.
It looks like Higginbotham's trying to go for the lead right there.
And let's see if we can get far enough ahead to actually get there. And there it is. Higginbotham taking that inside line. You wonder about it again with the fresher tires. Door to door almost. 22 to go.
Keep it like this until the end, please. Keep it like this.
Hey, I'm not going to complain.
No, keep it like this so that's... This sounds biased, but like slow them down enough for all the other cars. Let all the other cars catch up, then boom, we have an entire battle. We get a 4 or 5 car battle here. They still have time to catch up, though. There's still plenty of time. The thing is, those 2 cars battling together for that long, like, it's going to cause them to slow down. It's going to cause those other cars to catch up with that better speed there. In being just, single, just alone in a way.
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you're saying there, and certainly both Higginbotham and Knickel knew what they had to do early on in this race. Higginbotham started 8th, Knickel started 11th, so they made their moves early.
Yes.
They've been there the entire way.
Yes, it looks like Higginbotham's trying to put a distance here, but Knickel is trying to get some pace off the outside lane, which it's worked for many drivers. It's also sometimes not even worked at all.
And I know earlier I referenced Corbin McCauley having won Season 1's Martinsville race. Season 2 went to this man, Ty Higginbotham, where he literally lapped the field. So he's to put it lightly, he'll do just fine on short tracks.
And can you remember who finished 2nd and how far back it was?
Well, as I say, effectively, like, I think he was just about to lap second place, who I think was Darcy Ford.
It was Darcy Ford, okay.
I
Yeah.
think he was second. I'd have to remember.
There's a battle for third.
Yeah, so we've got that in the background here. Now we're with that battle, Corbin McCauley and Darcy Ford.
Yeah, McCauley just took over third place as we were trying to switch the cars right there. And yeah, we were saying it looked like Corbin had damage there, but we got a report that he physically doesn't. It's just a visit. It's just I'm forgetting what the
Cosmetic?
term is. Come on, I'm trying to think of it, like deceiving to the eye. You know, like
okay,
it's deceiving.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it seems to be working for him at this point. But speaking of working, it looks like Ty Higginbotham might be putting in a bit of work. It looks like he, as you mentioned earlier, might be separating himself from AJ Knickel here a little bit. Let's see if we can get kind of a background.
Oh yeah, he's pulling
There's
away.
The distance.
He's pulling away.
And we're coming up probably on about 15 to go, if my math is right. I heard 20 laps at one point, but I think we're a few laps away from that now. And I'm sure we'll get the word from race control here half soon. But 14 to go. There we go. So, you know, timing isn't bad. Maybe the math isn't great, but the timing seems to be working out.
You said 15 at the end there, so close enough. And it looks like Brandon Reed is going to get lapped and come down, and he's going to come down to pit road. Might be a damaged thing. It might be excessive tire wear. It's unfortunate.
And so it's 13 to go now for Ty Higginbotham out of Kansas City, Missouri. And there you see the Tornado Alley driver absolutely leaving the field in the dust here after this final pit stop, or the one green flag pit stop, I should say, as we'll go back to our main broadcast cam. Looks like Higginbotham's coming up on lap traffic, though. So
that might be a concern, especially if they're packed together. Let's see if we can get another angle there. There's quite a couple cars. It's like
there
5 of them there. Even Dan Cudmore there as well.
Jason Butler in that mix.
Yeah. Founder and owner of the series Riggs Race.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really fault the guy. He's kind of carried the series from a content perspective and kind of put the series on his back. And unfortunately, may or may not have put his back out. We cannot confirm or deny. But we certainly can confirm that Ty Higginbotham's just kind of slicing his way.
Corbin's. Oh, there's a car around in the back.
That
Turn
was Trent
2.
Nielsen
2
in the
cars
back.
around.
Saw Nielsen in the 55. 10 to go here, we're being told. Battle now between Knickel and McCauley for second.
And Darcy Ford is back there in fourth, trying to. He might be able to capitalize on maybe a little bit of close racing between Knickel and McCauley.
Yeah, that's 3 Maritimers together, with Knickel being from Nova Scotia. So 2 through 4, that's Nova Scotia, PEI. So not a bad little showing from our little part of the world
here. And McCauley to second.
Indeed he is. And Knickel trying to find a way through on the high side. It looks like McCauley's going to hold on to the position here, though.
I heard a whoa there.
I did too, and I'm not sure if that was somebody getting loose or maybe the leader just trying to navigate through that lap traffic that we saw.
If that was Higginbottom reacting to the lap cars, that could be interesting.
Well, let's skip up to the 97 here once again, and indeed he's right in the middle of that pack.
That's the thing. McCauley still has to catch up and get through that himself, so it's probably unlikely. It's probably unlikely that he's going to catch up, but maybe things change. Maybe.
Yeah, I think if Higginbotham gets past Hurdle, as it looks like he's doing right about now, looks like that could be crisis averted here for the 97 for the most part. As you correctly noted, about 5 or 6 cars now separating Higginbotham from second place. I believe it's still Corbin McCauley.
Yes, it is. He's getting away from Knickel, so it seems to be kind of an equal distance between each of the top 3 cars.
And so for all the chatter from the first 2 stages, as I just realized that I forgot to change the overlays. So
5 laps to go, we are hearing.
Well, let's get one more run through the overlays before we get to the white flag at least. as Higginbotham is, again, just kind of running away from the field here now. And as I was going to say, for all the close racing that we had in stages 1 and 2, stage 3, you've really seen some separation as we're down to 4 laps to go.
Well, that's just what comes with green flag pit stops in the pit window. It's whoever's able to capitalize the most, and I kind of personally had a feeling that there was a likely chance that someone was going to come out with the best, decisions and stuff. So it appears Higginbotham is about to be on his way to the checkered flag with what appears to be his...
3 to go, we're being told.
On strategy, yeah.
And looks like Higginbotham just coming up on a little bit more lap traffic in the form of, that's Brandon Reed on the high side, and not sure who that is on the bottom. Maybe Janikowski. I think it is in the 93, but we'll stay with Higginbotham here the rest of the way as you see the gap continuing to open up, so that's 2 to go. So Ty Higginbotham, he'll see the white flag next time around, and if Higginbotham's able to hold on, that's all 3 Tornado Alley drivers picking up wins one by one. So we're kind of seeing how this is playing out here as the 97 looking awfully good. He's seeing the white flag right about now. So we're on the final lap of tonight's Fix Auto Charlottetown 100. Ty Higginbotham out of Kansas City, Missouri, keeping things clean. And again, not really seeing a whole lot of battling. Oh, that could have been scary there.
Oh, that was interesting.
Nielsen, I think, getting kind of squirrely there on the back stretch.
Yeah, Ty Higginbotham comes off turn 4. He will score his first win of the season at Iowa, and that clinches him a playoff spot.
Yeah, 3 wins last year. First win of this season for the number 97 of Ty Higginbotham, the Tornado Alley E-Racing driver out of Kansas City, Missouri. Took stage 2 as well, so an additional playoff point for that. Really, second half of the race kind of belonged to the 97.
Oh yes, he was up there. He was up there most. It was mostly in the second stage in those lead battles and stuff. But yeah, he comes out here in the third stage and successfully gets the job done. He was able to capitalize off that pit window in the middle of the third stage, and he got the job done. He pulled away easily. He got through the lap traffic successfully, although we may have heard there might have been a tiny bit of difficulties and maybe some close racing, some close calls, but he was able to avenge it off very easily, and he's got a win.
And I'll be very curious to see what he says about that post-race, but we're going to go ahead and take one last commercial break, and we will be back on the other side to kind of run things down from this week and set up Charlotte.
Fix Auto, the first word that should come to mind after an accident.
Fix Auto, the first words that should come to mind after an accident.
And there he is again. Third straight Tornado Alley race winner. This time it's the 97 of Ty Higginbotham, so every driver on that team with a win now. Higgy, he took it convincingly in the second half of stage 3.
Oh yeah, that team should most certainly be even higher up there in the team standings, for sure. And everything I said earlier about Higginbotham there at the checker flag, you can attribute to this as well.
And so Higginbotham, he comes in about not quite 4 seconds ahead of the number 17 Red Dirt Racing Chevy of Corbin McCauley out of Charlottetown, PEI. Again, given the first 2 stages being as close as they were, I don't know if we expected a 4-second margin, but it's still a P2 for the 17.
Well, yes, he was up there. He looked to definitely be a contender, maybe even the winner, but that pit window did seem to kind of mess things up a bit as he was back around 4th or 5th place. But, I mean, he was still able to get some good spots, and he was able to get up there in 2nd place. With Higginbotham just completely gone, he was able to capitalize against A.J. Knickel and some other car there. I can't remember. Maybe it was Darcy Ford, I believe it was. But, yeah, still a very, very good race from him. Of course, it's unfortunately not a win, but it's still some very valuable points. And he went from 28th in the standings after his absence at Auto Club to it was, I believe, around 17th, 18th in the standings after Mosport, and now he's definitely going to be way higher. He's definitely going to be on the playoff grid for the time being, so
Not to
good
mention
job.
the Stage 1 win tonight for the
Oh,
playoff
yes,
game,
obviously,
too.
those stage points are very valuable as well. That'll definitely get him higher in the standings, like I've said.
And you talk about AJ Knickel, that's yet another top 3 finish for him. He's a guy who's consistent literally on any form of track. Top 3 every time.
Consistency right there for him. He comes out as the top rookie.
Jameson might still have something to say about that. With the
As
race win.
in, well, yeah, as in this
Tonight,
race.
yes.
Yes, tonight for sure. But yeah, Jameson obviously, yeah, he kind of fell back. He kind of himself fell back a bit though. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was right there, but again, just didn't
Yeah.
have the pace at the very end.
Kind of just dropped a little.
Same
throughout the
could be
race.
said for the 41 Ford of Jose Mercado, the GTR Motorsports outfit out of Kissimmee, Florida. Started third tonight, but again, ultimately couldn't convert that into the race win. He's got to settle for P4. He was in there, but just the result didn't come to him.
Well, that's the thing. That's what it seems to be every race for him. Like, he starts off great. He might qualify terrifically. He might go on to have good stage finishes or even get the score stage win. But then as soon as that final stage comes along, there's always something that happens that screws him over. And then it's either he unfortunately ends up getting a bad finish, or he ends up rebounding, and it's not a win, but it's still a decent finish. And right here, he still manages to hold on for a top 5 finish.
And rounding out that top 5 is last week's winner, Jonathan Peaden. The guy, again, it bears repeating, he wasn't sure how he was going to do at Iowa. Finishes out with a top 5.
Yeah, kind of a back and forth race with him. We didn't see him early on. He was more like midfield, but he started popping out a lot later. And he was kind of one of those quiet cars in this race, too. Putting up an example that even after you score a win and automatic playoff spot, it doesn't mean that you got to suddenly just turn soft. Like, you can still go for it, still get some valuable points. So, yeah, that was pretty much Peaden's race tonight.
Exactly so. And tonight's pole sitter, Darcy Ford, kind of a similar story overall. Kind of up toward the front for the majority of the race. Ultimately comes home in 6.
Yeah, just not really a winning speed for him. He was still up there very much, had the speed to get the top 5 or 6 finish. Was it there? What position?
So it was 6th.
It was 6th, yeah.
Finishing.
Okay, yeah, it was 6. Close to a top 5, still manages a top 10. But yeah, just not really any winning speed there from him as the race went on.
You say close to a top 5. How about 5 1,000ths of a second away from the top 5?
Oh,
so I would say those two effectively just kind of ran right at the line, and Mercado about a 10th and a half ahead of that. So, or 4 through 6.
A battle on their own.
Absolutely it is. And then you get a little more separation in the field from there as Leo Jameson comes home in 7th. So that's all 3 Tornado Alley guys in the top 7, and our championship leader looking like he's set to push that out just a little bit further. But good on the Atlanta native for sticking it out and ultimately picking up the finish.
Yeah, kind of an up and down race for him. There would be a time where he was up there, then there was a time where something happened, then he was up there, something happened, and just that pattern kept going. He still managed to come home with a solid 7th place finish. He should still definitely be right up there as the best rookie by far. Although AJ Knickel is definitely starting to put his name up there with his consistent finishes.
He absolutely is. And you were talking about a quiet drive from Jonathan Peaden earlier. How about a quiet drive from Reggie Kime in the Top Gun Racing Ford? The 77 comes home in 8th tonight. And again, he's been in the playoff picture, and he was a guy who was kind of around, but again, ultimately finishes P8.
Just a conservative run for Reggie Kime. He didn't really want the. I guess it was just he didn't want the spotlight. You know, he just wanted to run his race, get a good finish, get some good points, and I respect him for that.
And yeah, certainly a good run, as you say, picking up the points. And it went kind of the same way for another Top Gun driver in the form of Bob Drew III. The number 6 Ford out of Miamisburg, Ohio, he comes home in 9th.
Oh yes, another consistent finish here for Bob Drew. It's kind of similar to AJ Knickel as well there. It's another rookie that's just finishing well and finishing with the car clean. Yeah.
And I mean, short track, that's, more than half the name of the game, I would say.
Oh, yes.
Kind of keeping it clean. And another guy who was able to do that, Another consistent finisher, Mike Marini, rounds out the top 10 in his Eclipse E-Racing Toyota. And yeah, ultimately, as we said, he's a guy who's just kind of there, and he's very much in the thick of the playoff picture as well.
And he was coming off, obviously, he was coming off that pressure from the potential of a three-peat at Mosport. Like, he was up there last week. He was up there looking like he had the speed for a potential, like, 3 seasons in a row victory at Mosport. So he comes home tonight, top 10 finish right there at the bottom of the top 10. That pressure kind of slid off in a way.
Yep.
If that's a proper way to put it. So,
that's fair.
Yeah. Good job, Marini.
And yeah, we'll just take a quick run through the rest of the field now. So just 12 cars wound up on the lead lap by the end of the night. Finishing in 11th was number 57 of Bailey Burr out of Chesterfield, South Carolina. Again, sponsored by the Racing Carolina podcast, and we'll be hearing plenty out of them in about a minute or two as we get through the rest of the field. The last car to finish on the lead lap was the man who won Daytona, and that's another Eclipse driver, Chase Beatty, the number 25 out of Lawton, Tennessee, with the sponsorship from Winning Bid Diecast Auctions. And now we get into the cars who finished one lap down, beginning with Andy Hurdle in the 519 E-Racing Ford out of Dayton, Ohio, coming in 13th. Followed closely by the man who was kind of on the playoff bubble here tonight, that being the 29 of Jonathan Warr out of Saugerties, New York, with the sponsorship from JMW Construction and Tree Removal. He finishes 14th. And then Mike Nickens, who started on the front row, unfortunately got caught up in a couple of things, especially late, and he winds up in 15th, the lap down in his GTR Motorsports Toyota out of Jacksonville, Florida. Then we get to series founder Dan Cudmore in the number 2 Winston Racing Group Ford out of Stanchill, PEI, coming home in 16th, again 1 lap down, along with the number 10 519 E-Racing Chevy of Jason Butler out of London, Ontario, with sponsorship from Rampage Coffee Company and Chuck's Roadhouse. And the final car to finish 1 lap down was the number 87 of Travis Tyson, the Eclipse E-Racing Chevy, the number 87 out of Kingsport, Tennessee. From there, we get into the cars to finish 2 laps down, headed by the number 93 of Tom Janikowski, finishing in 19th, the Appleton, Wisconsin native driving for JMW. And finishing in 20th was the number 44 Red Dirt Racing Ford of Keith Miller out of Foley, Minnesota. Miller, another guy just kind of toward the bottom end of the playoff picture, and you know, he would have loved to finish a little bit higher tonight, but ultimately it wasn't in the cards for him. And same could be said for his Red Dirt Racing teammate, the number 36 of Brandon Reed, the Toyota out of Fort Worth, Texas. He finishes 3 laps down in 21st. Then we get to the Top Gun Racing Chevy of Matt Paytak out of Vandalia, Ohio. He finishes 4 laps down in 22nd tonight. And then we go to the Sim League Pro Team Racing 44, but he's the number 55, is Trent Nielsen out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, with, again, a host of sponsors, which admittedly, kind of hard to read on the small monitor here, but I'll give it my best effort. Nielsen Design and Photography, Apex CNC. Not sure if that's... There's a golf tour there. Again, I can't quite read the full lettering there, but I can tell you Ace Radiator, Economy Auto Parts, Skyline Chili of Fort Wayne, Wild Jack Apparel, and Elkins House Moving, also sponsors of the number 55. And from there, we get into a few what appear to be disconnections over the course of the evening, beginning with the 00 519 E-Racing Ford of Christian Worsham out of Deal, Maryland, who, yeah, as I say, disconnected probably about halfway or early on in stage 3 by the looks of things. And then we get the number 99, another, well, this is an Atlantic Motorsports entry of Marcus Wright, the 99 Toyota out of Niles, Michigan, had a disconnect very early on in the 3rd stage. Or no, that's a disconnect 13 laps in, so my apologies. It was actually the 85 of Kevin Daigle that had the disconnect early in stage 3. Number 85 out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. So, now that we've got that all sorted out, we've gone from a short track and one of the shorter races to what's going to be the longest race on the calendar, and that's going to be the Racing Carolina 300 from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. And so, Riggs, things are obviously going to be very different here, especially with the addition of a third competitive stage on top of the actual race finish. What are you expecting?
Well, I mean, it's endurance. That's what Charlotte is all about, especially with the real-life Coca-Cola 600, because, you know, it's 600 miles, 400 laps. I mean, it's obviously shortened here, but I mean, for this, it's still going to be pure endurance, and it's going to be all about strategies with the multiple pit windows that come through, and there's also the inside-outside line kind of a situation there, getting fast speed off the corners. So Charlotte is definitely going to be one of the better races this season for sure. It should be.
It's going to be interesting, and we're going to be hitting our halfway point of the regular season that point. So there's also that consideration. But for now, again, we've wrapped up our run at Iowa here tonight, and it's our inaugural stop in this season's Fix Auto Cup. And it's last year's Fix Auto Cup champion, Ty Higginbotham, who takes the win. And certainly, again, a strong run in that third and final stage. So we'll cut her off right about there for tonight. So for the entire Canadian E-Motorsports Network team, series founder Dan Cudmore, get well soon. Color commentator Regan McCauley. My name's Jordy Carraher. Hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage of the Fix Auto Charlottetown 100. And we're going to see you next week at Charlotte, and it's going to be an absolute doozy.
Have a good one,